Hello, everybody. The name is Larry Jr., and I am here with possibly one of the rising artists when it comes to hardcore. I mean, noticed by LIL Texas, already featured in his album. That is Water Spirit. Do you have any other name, or just want me to call you Water Spirit?
Water Spirit, GG also works. Yeah.
You know what? Perfect. I can say this. Your incredible work, all your incredible music that you have done so far, ever since I believe 2018, I believe. GG, man.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah. Thank you.
For all your incredible work. And I had to ask this question here.
Yeah.
So, did you ever think that the project of Marcia would get as big as it is right now? Because let's be honest, it's kind of blowing up. I mean, so many achievements, not only through TikTok with the song Eris, but also you being featured in EDC, you being featured as a LIL Texas album, you being noticed by Mustai and supporting one of his shows, to, of course, the summoning of the caverns with freaking sudden death. Oh my freaking gosh, how does it feel? Water Spirit.
It feels good. I know, I never thought it would get this big at all. I had a lot of doubts when I was first kind of doing it. It just turned out well when I stuck to it. So.
And I'm so glad you did stick with it and just like went true to yourself and said everybody, I want to show people the power of what hardcore is. But what is it about hardcore that like burns your soul and makes you want to spread that to the world?
So I was like a big hardcore listener too in like high school, and then when I first started music, I was actually doing like kind of like chiptune Porter Robinson type stuff, and then it pivoted super hard once I like kind of just was like, this isn't working out for me, and I wanted to do something that was like more true to like what I used to listen to.
Wow.
So it was like kind of nostalgia based, and then it started with hardstyle, and then I connected with LIL Texas really early on. He was like, showing me some of his 200 BPM stuff, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is sick. I want to try my shit on that.
That is amazing to hear, and I'm surprised you mentioned chiptune, because here's the thing about me when it comes to hardstyle. My introduction to hardstyle or hardcore, I'll be honest, I was a novice to it. My introduction, please don't laugh, and please, everyone, please don't judge me when I say this. My introduction to hardcore was literally the song Nainobi Rainbow Road.
Yes, that song, it fucks. I love that song.
So after that, I was absolutely, it kind of like blew me away, like how hardstyle can be melodic, but also like very joyous and like still very like energetic.
Yeah.
It led to like Bubble Beam, and of course it led to Atmospheres and a few other artists who do a lot of hardstyle stuff, and of course LIL Texas and some of his work. So I said to myself, you know what? I need something a bit more stronger. I thought, this comedy style, like I'm treating music as a drug. Like I had the weak stuff when they know me atmospheres. You know what? I want to go with LIL Texas. Let's see what he got.
Yeah.
No offense, LIL Texas. You're absolutely amazing. We love you so freaking much. But that's amazing to hear. And when you kind of like start doing hardcore, was it easy for you to kind of like get into it, or was it kind of a
yes and no? It was a lot of learning like early on, because I was always like kind of, when I would collab with my friends in my room and we were like, let's just make like whatever genre we're feeling, it was just, I would always go back to hardstyle and be like, I want to make a hardstyle track way before I like committed to it. And so that I think taught me a lot early on, and then just the more I did it, the better I got. And then 200 BPM stuff was like really fascinating to me, and I feel like I do have like at least a little bit of like when I'm producing 200 BPM, I'm like, this is me at my best.
Right.
But I also like other BPMs as well.
But also, did you like also collaborating with do you still like collaborating with other people? Because it seems like you start beginning on your own path. Like, I mean, you start off with Plur, and then we go into some of the big hitters like I said before, Aries and Tail Whip.
Yeah.
So and even I'll mention one song like my absolute favorite in the old days, Toxic with Black Jesus.
Oh yeah, that song is great. I love Black Jesus so much. She's the homie.
Absolutely freaking amazing. So do you still you seem like with a lot of stuff you do, you love collaborating with other people too, and
yeah,
I want to say one of the questions was going to be who would you collaborate with in the future, but you kind of, I'm not gonna say kind of hit the bar already with LIL Texas, because he's one of the kings.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else you kind of can think of?
Yeah, there's a producer that's really good named Andrex from Europe, who's amazing. I love his stuff. And then obviously Virtual Self would be a fucking dream collab. I would love
Virtual Self.
Yeah.
That So I feel like, oh my gosh, poor Robinson, if you're watching this, please bring that virtual self. I mean, he did already with him back G Jones.
Yeah.
So who knows? There might be some hope.
Yeah, G Jones too. G Jones is amazing. That would be incredible.
That would be incredible as well, because their sound in the past and even now has been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But the one question I'm going to ask is this, since of course we're doing the show right now, part of the LIL Texas tour, but also a few other virtual stuff as well. Like you did like the virtual style of Palooza, virtual style of, I believe, hard style takeover with Benosity. So is there a difference between like, you doing a show, you doing virtual, and of course doing a festival?
Yeah. So the difference there is that like during COVID, because I kind of came up during COVID where I was actually getting like kind of recognition for
That was
stuff.
my first introduction to you through those virtual sets.
Yeah. So the virtual sets are really fun, but obviously when you're at home, it's completely a different beast from when you're like performing in front of people. And then for festival sets, it's more or less just like more chaotic and like kind of there's so many more other acts and like other people to meet and stuff like that. So it's all really fun for me. But I definitely feel like the need to move around more when I'm not doing virtual sets. With virtual sets, I just get to kind of stand in front of my projector and let the projector do most of the like storytelling. And in real life, it's like you can see with LIL Texas and other performers, like their physical, like
very physical
activity on stage is like half of the show. So.
Definitely. But for you, it's like you focus more on the visual side as well, which is also pretty incredible because if I'm not mistaken, all the visual stuff of War Spirits you did yourself.
Yes. And LIL Texas. And some other things,
Wait, so you also did the visuals for LIL Texas too? Yeah,
I did the visuals for LIL Texas and Dead X and some other people, some other guys on tour.
Oh my god! I'm sorry for those names on the list. We gotta make sure you put like a little bit like with War Spirit with the visuals because no. I personally like to make sure that the person who does the visuals, who like really brings the atmosphere to certain artists like Dead X, artists like LIL Texas, they deserve credit as well. You, my friend, deserve so freaking much for what you're doing so far. So what made you like want to like do your own visuals or get started like doing like visual design and that kind of thing?
So before I started music, because I didn't really start producing until I was like 18, but before then, like my life was fully like I'm gonna be an animator, I'm gonna be a 3D animator. So I already had like a background in it, and then when I was doing like my first like production stuff online and like spreading on Twitter, like I was like, how do I like make this seem semi-professional? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like crack down on like 3D animation, 3D visuals and stuff like that. And then the more I did it, the more my friends were like, yo, can you do something like that for me? And I was like,
and that's how it like, and the rest was pretty much history.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the whole show thing as well. Like, like we mentioned, LIL Texas and a lot of the artists are very physical with the performance. For you, it was more about focusing on the visuals. And also, but I feel like when it came to like, this is something I read as well, when you did your highlights in 2021, you mentioned this, that you got way more comfortable performing and having fun on stage and started to take like bigger steps for improving your mental health. So I'm curious to know, like, was you really kind of like scared when it came like, doing your very first like, in real life sets, like you didn't know what to say, you didn't know what to do?
Yeah, so I'm an incredibly shy person. I like had a lot of social anxiety like growing up. Like it was really hard for me to even like go to a fast food place and like order and shit like that. And so like it was a pretty difficult push to being like, okay, I'm going to be like in front of a crowd, because I really wanted to, obviously like DJing was just another way for me to express what I've been making and like what other people had been making, and kind of like a cool like pairing of visuals and music.
Were you kind of like thinking that like when you step on that stage and all those people are looking at you, it's like I call it the kind of the high school feeling where it's like you step into like the lunchroom and you think to yourself like, are they gonna like me? Are they really going to really want to be my friend? It's that type of anxiety.
And I felt a lot like, especially when I played like EDC and stuff, like I was like hella nervous on stage, and then as I played more and more shows, like I was just like, okay, like every single show was like a huge improvement in my confidence on stage.
So for anyone, let's say if you want to give any advice to any like artists who like they're gonna be performing on the stage or like performing in front of like a crowd, are there any like things that you've done to like really calm yourself down, like really flow with the crowd, flow with your music? Any advice you can give with that type of anxiety? Or I would just say, pretty much just stage fright.
Yeah. My tip is that it's not that serious, and that just like have fun. Like it doesn't matter if you like think you look silly. Like the people there that enjoy your music will like obviously like enjoy your stage presence as well, and you are just another part of the aspect of the show. So you're not as big. Like when you're up there, you obviously think like, oh my god, everybody's paying attention to like every little muscle movement I do. They're not. They're not at all.
Except if you're me, because I was like,
you
except for me.
real.
But here's the thing. For me, is like when it comes to like openers, when it comes to different artists, I'm like, they're like, no, like definitely enjoying the music, but I'm also kind of like looking at them and like seeing them like really enjoy it. Like I always say this to a lot of people, which is that the energy you give out to people, same energy you're gonna give back. You give out, if you give out that you're really like enjoying it and you're really loving it, people are gonna like see it. They're gonna feel your energy. They're gonna feel happy. You're gonna feel happy. It's like a cycle of like happiness that's like spreading around when you're like an artist or a fan.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you mentioned like no, make sure you just have fun and that not everyone's going to pay attention. Unless you see me there, I'm going to criticize you deeply. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal. But again, like what you're doing is absolutely incredible, and I know that tonight you're going to absolutely kill it as well. You already have so many incredible actors under your belt. I feel like the most like biggest like curveball thing that surprised me was you did some supporting for I want to make sure I pronounce the name properly. Anamanaguchi.
Yes.
Yes, I said it right. I said it right.
Yeah.
Anamanaguchi. How did that feel? Because that's kind of was a big left field thing. I mean, you mentioned chiptune, of course, like Paul Robinson, like that's kind of like similar to video game music, but for them who did the soundtrack for the entire Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game, and you like supporting them and like bringing hardstyle. I don't know if that was like a culture shock for some people.
I'm sure it was. It was amazing because I love Anamanaguchi. Like they're the fucking like just the absolute peak of like chiptune and video game OSTs. But like they obviously have their like they pay attention a lot to like SoundCloud, and I was like very like involved in like the 2016 like SoundCloud hyperpop days and stuff like that. And then me and my roommates, we just have like a DJ setup, and sometimes we would live stream, and I guess they like tuned into one of those, and then they just hit up one of us on email and were like, hey, like come through, and I was like, absolutely, of course.
That is absolutely amazing to hear, and I pray maybe like in the future video game soundtrack, I don't know if any companies or video games want to like stick with the whole 8-bit or 16-bit thing. I feel like some would definitely appreciate some video game art style.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in a cutscene, maybe like in a combat scene. I can obviously just imagine like certain characters like punching or like fighting like to the beat of each music. That would be amazing to see or hear. And God forbid I hear one of your songs in Dance Dance Revolution. Let's just say I will be going freaking off. The machine's gonna break when I get on there. Water spirit. But back to, of course, the present as well. There's something coming in your work. The very first Water Spirit EP.
Yes. Yeah.
Released in the Barong Family, right?
It will release on the Barong Family, yes.
How did it feel to be noticed by the Barong Family label, which I believe is owned by Yellow Claw, am I correct?
Yeah.
That is kind of crazy, but please explain.
They're nuts, because like I was such a big fan of Barong Family when I was like they were like my dream label for the longest time. It was like that and BassCon, and then to have the opportunity like line up to release with both of them multiple times was like fucking incredible. Like just to be a part of that scene of like Barong Family has some of the most like incredible underground producers on their label, like just the most fun EDM that you could ever fucking hear.
So I'm just curious to know, since Origin Family is already out now on the Barong Family. That is it going to be a kind of is this EP going to be kind of like maybe of a story of like what you're trying to make, or is this going to be like a showcase of like what you're making for 2023?
It's a little bit of a lot of things. It's more of a style change for me. There's a bit of slower BPM songs on there, as well as like kind of like what I consider like my best production. So I want that to like set the standard. And then as well as like a little bit of like, like 3D modeling and like other graphic stuff is involved as well. So it was a bit of a big production for me to finally get it done, and I'm very excited. So be on the lookout.
I will, well, definitely. I wouldn't say just look out. I'm going to be watching like a hawk, waiting for the day when the midnight strikes and it's finally out. How many tracks will be on the EP?
It'll be 4.
It'll be 4.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it be 5 or 6? But that's
I know,
okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
I'll have some little companion singles that will maybe kind of link in a way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can hardly freaking wait for that. But aside from the EP, what is next for Water Spirits? Because I mean, again, I said before, we collaborate with some pretty amazing people, LIL Texas, and Noticed by Mustai, Noticed by Keizo.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit for you, of course, but what is next, like in the clouds for Water Spirits?
I have some like stuff coming up for like I'm playing a festival next week, Dream Festival of Mine Wasteland, and yeah, just shows.
So this is also gonna be an EDC, right?
No, it's not gonna be EDC.
Right, because we
It's
said
just Wasteland the festival, like the
Okay. Because I was introduced to Wasteland, of course, through EDC,
Yeah,
because
right.
you had BassCon section, you had the Wasteland section, you had Toxic Metal, that kind of thing. So I thought, oh my gosh, EDC's gonna bring you yet again. But it's just gonna be a simple, just like solo Wasteland festival.
Yeah, just the hardstyle festival, and then yeah, I'll peek around to some other stuff that I can't talk about. But, yeah.
I can hardly wait. I mean, are there any like festivals you wish that you could maybe play in the future? I mean, you're
I
gonna
really-
EDC,
yeah.
but what's next?
I really want to play either Beyond Wonderland or Ultra because they both fall on my birthday, and I really want to play a festival on my birthday.
I can only imagine
Yeah.
Water Spirits on the main stage. Oh my god. Yo, UMF, Beyond Wonderland, Pascal Rotella, please remember this name and find them. They are going to be absolutely tearing the stage up with their incredible music. And hopefully, again, we can maybe see you again in the next festival of Something in the Caverns, because
Oh, yeah,
you
for
absolutely did your thing with Something in the Caverns. So
Yeah.
proud that something as incredible as Sudden Death know this power of Water Spirits. That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So, Water Spirits, again, thank you for blessing us and teaching us the power of hardcore, the power of hard style, and I hope that more and more people can really experience and feel the power of that genre, because it's a genre that I feel like is kind of pushed aside, but I'm so happy that there are pioneers like you, pioneers like Dead X and Youssef and Limits Not Exist and LIL Texas and Keizo and Mustai that are really bringing that energy to other to places around the world. I still will never forget me hearing the like hardstyle like feeling of like Hellburst with Mustai, and of course
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the remix of Metafractals in the Anti-Fractal album. Oh my god, this absolutely goes freaking hard. I swear. I don't know if it's gonna be in your set for tonight or in LIL Texas set, but if I hear that remix, I'm going to freak off.
I
Give
know
me
there's gonna be
room.
some must-die tonight, that's for sure.
I can
That's
hardly freaking wait, and we can hardly freaking wait to see you tear it up this time on this stage. Again, will it be in any other tour dates, or is it going to be the only one?
There's some unannounced things that are in the works.
About to say, because I was looking for like your icon on the tour dates, and I only saw you for this
Yeah.
one here. I was thinking to myself, wait, what?
Yeah, just keep an eye on the East Coast. So, yeah.
East Coast. Remember the name, Water Spirits. Remember the name. Thank you again
Yeah,
so
thank you so
much.
much.
And thank you so much for watching as well. Water Spirits, remember the name. Let it flow through like water, be like water, be like the spirit. Thanks so much for watching. This is Leveler Jr. signing off. I love you all so much. I love you so much. Peace.